Hi, I'm Danielle. Welcome to my perfume journal. So last week I woke up in the middle of the night and instead of doom scrolling, I thought it would be fun to look up all of the perfumes in my collection on Parfumo to see how they were rated by the community there. So this ended up being a really fun and kind of surprising exercise. Last week, I talked about the highest rated perfumes in my collection. I will link that video down below. And after I made that video, I actually realized that I left one of the perfumes off, and that really bummed me out because it was a good one. Hold on, I'm gonna go get it. This is the wonderful Heliotrope from Perfumer H. This came in with a scent score on Parfumo of 8.4. So shout out to lovely Heliotrope. I'm very sorry that I neglected you in that video. So I decided this week that it would be only fair for me to talk about the lowest rated perfumes in my collection, and this list was even more surprising to me. So for a perfume in my collection to make the highest rated or lowest rated list, it had to be in a size of more than 10 ml, so no travels, no samples, no decants. And it also had to have at least 10 ratings on Parfumo to be included. And I only looked at the ratings for scent. So on Parfumo, there are several different categories for rating perfumes. There's sillage, longevity, bottle, and then the perfume gets like an overall score. But for the purposes of my little study here, I only looked at what members of the perfume community on Parfumo thought about how the perfume itself smelled. And for context, the average score for scent in my collection was 7.5 out of 10. And so to create the list of the highest rated perfumes in my collection, I chose all of the perfumes that were 8.1 or higher. And for the lowest rated perfume list in this video, I'm looking at everything that rated below a 7 for scent. So in total, I have 14 perfumes in my main collection that rate below a 7 for scent on Parfumo. 10 of them, I think it's 10, met the criteria to make it to the lowest rated list. So first up with a scent score of 6.9 and 24 ratings is a perfume from 1989. This is Violetta di Bosco from Spezieri Palazzo Vecchio, and I would rate this perfume far, far higher for scent. I would put this one at about a 7.7. So this perfume smells exactly like Showered's Violet Candies. That is it. That's what it smells like. It is dry and powdery sweet. It's a little bit chalky. It literally smells just like those candies. As for the brand, I think it is fabulous. It's a family-owned apothecary-style perfumery in Florence. They make a little bit of everything, and the price point for quality is also excellent. I think this bottle was under $40. And look at how pretty it is. Next, at a 6.9 with 142 ratings, is the Grapefruit Cologne from Jo Malone. This came out in 1992, and the perfumer, I'm assuming, was still Jo Malone at the time. So this rating, I agree with. I actually might even rate this lower than a 6.9. This is not my favorite in the Jo Malone collection. I blind bought this perfume after falling in love with Blackberry and Bay, which has like a definitively tart grapefruit kind of quality to it. And I thought, oh, okay, well, imagine what a straight up grapefruit scent from Jo Malone would be like. And the answer is, for me, it was kind of disappointing. I was expecting like a grapefruit soli note, tart rind and pith, and then like a juicy sweet pulp kind of feel to it. Grapefruit is actually one of the easier realistic accords to make in perfumery, and I thought Jo Malone would do it super, super well, but I think it might be the aromatics in this, particularly the rosemary, that kind of clashes with the intention of the fruitiness of this perfume, and it just kind of left me feeling like this was more of a cleaning product scent than a perfume scent. And it also smells a little tiny bit to me like armpits. So I still hang on to this one because it's an oldie that I just can't bring myself to get rid of, but I really don't reach for this one much at all. And I think the Parfumo community got this one right with the rating. So next up, also at a 6.9 with 268 ratings on Parfumo, is Maîtresse from Agent Provocateur, and the perfumer here is Azzy Glasser. Now, this perfume I would rate much, much higher, at least a 7.9, if not an 8%. While I reserve the Best of Agent Provocateur title for L'Agent, that is a stunning myrrh perfume, which is like impossible to find nowadays. I actually think that Maîtresse is better than the original Agent Provocateur, which is a very kind of like sharp floral. And of all the Agent Provocateur perfumes I've collected over the last few years, this is the only one that I still have on my shelves. So despite its name and the bottle design, I don't think this is very vintage or boudoir smelling at all. I just think that this is a very beautiful, very well done musky floral suede. The proportions of the florals are wonderful. The rose definitely stands out, but the rest of the florals are in this really nice mixed bouquet. There's buttery ylang ylang, there's like a peachy osmanthus, there's an indolic jasmine, a dewy lotus, there's a powdery rooty iris in this, and they all just kind of like swirl together really beautifully. And there has to be some patchouli in this. It's not listed on the note list, but I mean, there has to be patchouli in this. But then in balance, the musky, suedey base is so smooth. It's so lovely. There's no sharp edges like I find in the original Agent Provocateur. So Maîtresse is a perfume that I would rate much higher than the Parfumo community gave it credit for. Okay, so the next two perfumes are coming in with ratings of 6.8. And we're going to start out with Peau de Soie by Dominique Ropion for Philippe Starck. This was released in 2016 and it has 39 ratings on Parfumo. Now, I would not go as far as giving this one an 8%, but I think I would definitely call this one like a solid 7.5. I blind bought this secondhand because it was a Dominique Ropion creation I never even knew existed. I was interested to see what would a postmodern architect and furniture designer come up with as the creative director of a perfume brief. And it turns out that this is the perfume version of Philippe Starck's iconic ghost chair. Those are the Louis XIV style armchairs, but they're made out of lucite. Very cool. And like those chairs, this perfume feels very lightweight, very translucent. It's meant to be a skin scent. The name actually means skin of silk or silken skin. And it really is just that. But there are also some really like clean lines to this perfume. This is not like a scarf or a veil of silk. This is literally like lucite furniture. There's structure and form to this, but it also feels light and ethereal. And I'm very happy it's in my collection. I give it a 7.5, not a 6.8. And next in the 6.8 category is Stella Pop from Stella McCartney. This is a 2016 release and it has 54 ratings on Parfumo. This is another perfume that I would rate much, much higher. This is probably rated a little bit lower because it's fun, it's whimsical, it's not a serious perfume. I would give this like a 7.8 at least. This is a doll head perfume. Like, I would love a whole collection of doll head perfumes. I love that sort of plasticky, strawberry, creamy synthetic smell. But in this case, it's so totally wearable and good. But I think Stella Pop is awesome. I would give it a much higher rating than a 6.8. So now I have 4 perfumes that received a 6.6 score on Parfumo. We're going to start with Aura. This came out in 2000 and it's from the designer brand Giacomo and it has 25 ratings on Parfumo. Now, this perfume was created by the great Edouard Flechier, who co-created Poison, single-handedly created Tender Poison, and also created Rose Tonnerre for Frederic Malle. Like, his work is iconic. So I love this perfume, but I will say I do understand, one, why it has fewer ratings, and two, why it has a lower score. Because who even has this thing besides weirdos like me? So for a year 2000 creation, I think this perfume and the bottle feels very, very 1970s to me. If you read the note list, you might expect a fluffy-ish, fruity floral with mimosa and heliotrope, and there's some broom and blackberry and lychee, but this is surprisingly green and woody. It's almost like a reimagination of Giacomo's very bitter green perfume called Silences from the 1970s. That one is sort of along the lines of like Bandit from Robert Piguet, but this one is updated for the 21st century. This is a super, super duper cheapie. This huge bottle was $12. The smaller one is $8 on FragranceNet. So like, even if I bought this and hated it, which I don't, it's just fun to experiment with cheapies like this that were created by great perfumers. It just helps me expand my study and my understanding of perfumes and perfumery. Next in at a 6.6 with 220 ratings on Parfumo is the 2002 Calvin Klein flanker called Secret Obsession, and the perfumer is Khalees Becker. So this one is a rating that I actually agree with wholeheartedly. I think a 6.6 is spot on. So looking at the notes of plum, rose, tuberose, jasmine, orange blossom, sandalwood, amber, vanilla, I was totally expecting the classic Obsession DNA enhanced by like dark fruits and big, thick, lush florals. I think this misses the mark. I get more of like a soapy Coca-Cola from this perfume. It's really strange. And if I am being 100% honest, as much as I love the original Obsession, I do not love this flanker. I'm keeping it for now because it has been discontinued. Maybe one day I'll change my mind about this one, but this just didn't give me what I was hoping for or looking for. It's not close enough to the original Obsession to really be a flanker in my mind. And so for those reasons, I am in agreement with the community's opinion of Secret Obsession. Skipping ahead 10 years to 2012, this is Pink Vetiver from Jo Loves. This is the boutique brand that was created by Jo Malone, and this came in at a 6.6 for scent with 26 ratings. And I think that's about right for this perfume. I might go up to like a 6.8 for this one. So Pink Vetiver is a very spicy, very aromatic, woody little number. It's got a ton of pink pepper at the forefront, like a ton. It's got a little bit of nutmeg. It's got a little bit of cardamom, a little bit of ginger, and all of the spiciness of it, again, mostly pepper, lots and lots and lots of pepper. It's all kind of like held up by that dry, woody vetiver. It's nice. It's a nice perfume. It is not worth the price point. This, guess what, was one of my vacation splurges. Vacation Danielle purchased this one a long, long time ago. But I still wear it. I like this one in the fall. But I think that the Parfumo community got the rating of this one right. 6.6 is right. And finally, in the group of perfumes with a 6.6 for scent, this has 54 ratings, and it's Miracle Muse from Miller Harris, created by Emily Bouge and released in 2022. So this one really surprised me, especially given the year it was released and the style of fragrance that it is. This is a rose fruit choulis with strawberry as the prominent fruit. It's got a little bit of rum, and then this nice sandalwoody, benzoin-y dry down with that sweet rose patchouli. I would actually give this one a much higher rating. To me, this is at least a 7.5. I might even go as high as like a 7.8 or a 7.9 for this one. Maybe even an 8, maybe an 8. I love this perfume, and I am not a huge fruit patchouli person. I think it's the strawberry that gets me. I adore the combination of strawberry and rose, and this perfume opens with a huge burst of strawberry rose. And that beautiful combination just lingers forever. You never ever really lose the fruitiness of this one in the dry down like you sometimes can in a fruit patchouli when like the patchouli just like takes over. In this perfume, the strawberry really holds up. It hangs around. So this is one of the perfumes on my list that really made me clutch my pearls when I saw the overall scent rating. Like, how could they? I'm just kidding. Others may not love this one, but I think it's great. So before we get to the lowest rated perfume that qualified to make the list, this is actually the lowest rated perfume in my entire collection. And this came in with a rating of 4.0. But it didn't make the list because it had fewer than 10 ratings. This is Anne Klein Blazer, a green floral chypre from the 1970s that I love, but I can see why this wouldn't be super popular. I don't agree with that, but I love the bitter greens of the 1970s, so I would give this one a much higher rating. But the final perfume that you are about to see really broke my heart because it was the very first perfume I ever owned for myself. Not one of my mom's or my grandma's or my aunt's that I sniffed on their dressers or in their bathrooms. The lowest rated perfume on the list, coming in at a 6.3 with 22 ratings, cue the tissues, is Love's Baby Soft. So this perfume came out in 1974. It was created by Ron Winograd for Dana. So the scent of Love's Baby Soft. This is like a watery rose violet. It's blended into this light powdery scent with lily of the valley and a little bit of citrus and musk. I want it to be rated higher simply for the nostalgia of it all. Every Gen Xer like me has some kind of memory of this scent. It was everywhere in the 70s. So many of us had a little bottle of it on our dressers, maybe right next to a bottle of Avon's Sweet Honesty. It is by far the most nostalgic and happy scent in my memory bank. It reminds me of the very safe childhood that I was lucky enough to have, surrounded by a loving family in my little bedroom with my little creature comforts like this perfume. And I look back on the simplicity of that time in my life with a very, very grateful heart. And for that, I give this scent memory a 10 out of 10. So there we have it, the lowest rated perfumes on my shelves at the moment. So this was a really fun look into my collection to see if I agreed or disagreed with the overall opinions of the perfume community as far as the scents I've chosen. And I know that I may not always choose the most popular perfumes, but I do always choose the ones that feel right to me, that speak to me in some way. That's how it's always been. That's how it's always going to be, no matter what the numbers say. So thank you so much for watching, for spending your time here with me, and for chatting perfumes with me in the comments. I hope you have a really great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.